In this last lecture in Chapter 7, we will discuss other sampling methods. Stratified, cluster, and systematic sampling will be considered probability sampling, allowing valid statistical inference. Convenience and judgment sampling are considered non-probability methods and much less statistically significant. In stratified sampling, we divide the population into groups where the data in each group is as common as possible to that group or stratum. And then we take a random sample from each of those groups or stratum and combine those samples into a larger complete sample to represent the population. The advantage is if the strata are homogeneous, this method is as precise as simple random sampling. Cluster sampling is similar in that the population is divided into clusters, but we will assume that each cluster is a small-scale representation of the entire population, in other words, heterogeneous. A simple random sample of the clusters is taken and then combined. There are advantages and disadvantages of cluster sampling. It can be more cost-effective, but can generally require a larger sample size. You may be most familiar with systematic sampling, where we use some system to select the sample elements. For example, picking every 5th or 10th or 20th element out of a population. There are advantages to this as long as we can assume that the elements in the population are randomly distributed. Then our sample will be random. Convenience sampling is a non-probability sampling method where the sampling elements are chosen in a manner convenient to the person taking the sample. Convenient sampling has a high risk of being less random, but it can certainly be easier to perform. Judgment sampling is the least random method, where a knowledgeable person decides which elements of the population to select for the sample. The problem is that the validity of this sampling method depends on the good judgment of the person selected. But it's a relatively easy way to select the sample. It is recommended that wherever possible, you use the most random, most probabilistic sampling method possible.